What are the key skills and qualities that you look for when hiring someone to join your team?
So key skills for a forensic accountant is very much having a very inquisitive mindset, attention to detail, be able to process a large volume of information, clearly understand the accounting and also the legal concepts which are relevant to the case. As I mentioned earlier, having a sort of legal background is helpful, not essential, but one does have to kind of have an appreciation in terms of the legal framework in which our work fits. Obviously, we interact a lot with lawyers, so be able to talk the same and certainly understand the legal framework is very, very important to the work that we do.
So you think there's quite a lot of crossover between the work you do as an accountant and the work you do with as lawyers, sort of there's kind of meet in the middle, in a way?
Absolutely. I think that as a forensic accountant, you need to have an appreciation for the law, whether it's recent case law, understand, in terms of the work that we do, we have to read and review legal documents, for example, particulars of claim documents, and that very much sort of plays into the work that we do as a forensic accountant. We don't do forensic accountancy in isolation. It's typically part of an investigation whereby lawyers will be developing a legal strategy. It's part of a dispute, whether it's an international arbitration or high court litigation, whereby we as forensic accountants have to understand the strategy, the case for the client, whoever you're working for, but also understand the arguments that are made by the other side and synthesise all of that information and make sure that the work that we're doing is relevant to the case.
And what would you say is the most challenging thing about being a forensic accountant?
I think the most challenging thing about being a forensic accountant is managing clients' expectations, which is similar to a lot of other professional services roles. I think it's, especially in the forensic accounting world, the role of asset tracing and recovery, which we obviously play quite a large part in. That is probably one particular example whereby managing clients' expectations is key. For example, if a client has been the victim of a fraud and they're asking us, usually in conjunction with a law firm, to trace assets, it might well be that we can trace assets to particular jurisdictions, usually overseas. However, it's then setting the expectations that, okay, we might be able to trace assets, but what are the chances of recovery? And it's setting clients' expectations, and those clients might be high net worth individuals who might not necessarily have a huge amount of experience in this area. So it's very, very important from the start of an assignment to set out what is achievable and what isn't achievable, and also be able to do that in a practical and efficient manner, and making sure that we're using client funds in the best possible way.
And perhaps a bit anecdotally, what assets have you had to trace and recover in your time?
So typically, in terms of the cases that we're involved in, often it's high net worth individuals, and it's all your sort of typical types of assets, whether it be property assets, high value cars, yachts, potentially property developments which in foreign jurisdictions, or mineral extraction sites, that type of thing.
So there's quite a lot of investigative work involved in tracking these down and finding them.
Absolutely. We obviously look at a paper trail, but there's also a certain amount of on-the-ground investigations. We might well work with a corporate intelligence agency in order to be able for them to do those investigations certainly in difficult jurisdictions. So yes, absolutely, it can take a certain amount of time and effort to do that, but the way that we look at it is obviously a sort of cost-benefit analysis to it, and trying to understand where the easy wins might potentially be. There are a number of very difficult jurisdictions, places like the Marshall Islands, for example, where people might be moving assets. There's certain ones such as that are known to be problematic. That it's going to take a very long time in order to be able to recover any information, if not ever. And one has to take a sort of pragmatic cost-benefit analysis perspective on those types of jurisdictions, whether it's actually worth going down that line or not. But yeah, there are certain jurisdictions certainly that we would advise clients it's probably not worth the effort and time, especially if there are other assets in other jurisdictions that are easier to recover assets.
What advice would you give to people wanting to become a forensic accountant? Perhaps they're already accountants themselves, or they're looking to come into a new career?
I think for people wanting to become a forensic accountant, it's a fantastic career to embark upon. It is challenging. It is intellectually stimulating. It's very varied. As I mentioned earlier, you come into the office one morning, and you think you might be drafting an expert report, and actually suddenly you might have to be getting on a train to go to a different location to interview a company director, for example. So it's very interesting. I've been doing it for 21 years. I don't think there's ever been a period of time when I found it not stimulating, not challenging. The variety of work, the variety of clients is endless. And how I would characterise the work is that we are situational experts. We apply our forensic accounting skills to lots of different issues, lots of different disputes, lots of different investigations, and it's applying that skill set and those experiences to different situations each and every time.